Maria loved watching the rain from her window. She always wondered where all that water came from and where it went after the storm ended. Her grandmother used to tell her that water was always moving, like a never ending dance around the world. Today, Maria finally understood what her grandmother meant. The water cycle is nature's way of moving water around our planet. It has been happening for millions of years, long before people lived on Earth. Water moves from oceans to the sky, then back to land, and finally returns to the oceans again. This amazing process never stops, and it gives life to everything on our planet. Every morning when Maria woke up, she could see tiny drops of water on the grass outside her house. This water was called dew. It came from the air during the night when the temperature got cooler. But where did the water in the air come from? The answer lies in the first part of the water cycle called evaporation. When the sun shines on oceans, lakes, and rivers, it heats the water. The warm water turns into invisible water vapor and rises up into the air. This is like when Maria's mother boiled water for tea and steam came up from the pot. The same thing happens in nature, but much more slowly. Every day, huge amounts of water evaporate from the oceans and other water bodies around the world. Plants also help put water into the air through their leaves. This process is called transpiration. When plants drink water through their roots, some of that water travels up to the leaves and then goes into the air. Trees and forests are like nature's water pumps, constantly moving water from the ground to the sky. This is why forests are so important for the water cycle. As water vapor rises high into the sky, it gets colder. Cold air cannot hold as much water vapor as warm air, so the water vapor turns back into tiny water drops. These drops stick to small pieces of dust in the air and form clouds. This process is called condensation. Maria loved watching clouds change shapes as they moved across the sky, not knowing that each cloud contained millions of water drops. When the water drops in clouds get too heavy, they fall back to Earth as rain, snow, or hail. This is called precipitation. In hot places, water usually falls as rain. In cold places, it falls as snow. Sometimes, in very cold clouds, the water drops freeze and fall as hail. Maria remembered the day when small ice balls fell from the sky during a summer storm. Her grandmother explained that this was hail. After water falls to the ground, it begins different journeys. Some water flows over the land surface, creating streams and rivers that eventually reach the ocean. This is called surface runoff. Maria often watched the small stream near her house after it rained. The water moved quickly, carrying leaves and small sticks with it on its way to the bigger river downstream. Other water soaks into the ground and becomes groundwater. This underground water is very important because people dig wells to get this water for drinking and farming. Some groundwater flows underground for very long distances before it reaches the ocean or comes back to the surface as springs. The water cycle works differently in different parts of the world. In tropical places near the equator, the cycle happens very quickly. The sun is very hot, so lots of water evaporates every day. Then this water quickly forms clouds and falls as rain. That is why tropical rainforests get rain almost every day. In desert areas, very little water evaporates because there are not many water bodies. The hot, dry air can hold lots of water vapor, so clouds rarely form. This is why deserts get very little rain. However, when it does rain in the desert, it can rain very hard for a short time. In polar regions near the North and South Poles, the water cycle is much slower. It is so cold that most water is frozen as ice and snow. During the short summer, some ice melts and the cycle speeds up a little. But most water stays frozen for many months or even years. Mountains also change how the water cycle works. When clouds hit mountains, they are forced to rise higher where the air is colder. This makes the water in the clouds turn into rain or snow. This is why one side of a mountain might get lots of rain while the other side stays dry. The water cycle is very important for all life on Earth. It brings fresh water to places far from the oceans. Without this cycle, only areas near water bodies would have water to drink. Plants, animals, and people all depend on the water cycle for survival. Climate change is starting to affect the water cycle around the world. In some places, there is more evaporation, which means more storms and floods. In other places, there is less rain, which causes droughts. Scientists are studying these changes to understand how they might affect the future. People also affect the water cycle. When we cut down forests, there is less transpiration, which can change local weather patterns. When we build cities with lots of concrete, rainwater cannot soak into the ground as easily. This can cause flooding during heavy rains. Understanding the water cycle helps us take better care of our planet's water. We can protect forests, keep rivers clean, and use water wisely. Maria now knows that every drop of water is precious because it has traveled around the world many times. The water she drinks today might have been in a cloud yesterday, in the ocean last week, or even in a dinosaur millions of years ago. The water cycle is truly one of nature's most amazing processes. It connects all parts of our planet and makes life possible everywhere. Next time you see rain, snow, or even morning dew, remember that you are watching part of the endless dance of water around our beautiful world.